Matthew. New way of starting the show.
Kid.
There you go.
Was that your AOL?
It was Kid 28 when I was 28
Yes,
years
okay.
old.
Well, yeah, I knew. Yeah, I talked to you on your AOL screen name back in the days of
wow.
still. So that's how I remembered that, because I can't elongate Gideon longer, right? There's no
Gideon
other part, because you said Matthew,
right.
So I was like, I use your full name.
I made it
Everybody
tough for you. You did it though. That was good.
Well, I turned it on its head. That's what I did.
Do you eat deli meat, or do you stay away from that kind of thing?
Much less so than I used to, but I do.
I do like it as well. I like boar's head. It's like almost like the top echelon of deli meat. But now they have this whole like listeria outbreak.
I know. What are we supposed to do about that?
Well, and the crazy thing was they inspected like one of the plants in Virginia. Oh, yeah. And it was a mess. And you figure they clean up the mess, but they just shut down the plant. They're like, we can't possibly clean this up. The company must have figured that.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the final.
How bad does it have to be to like shut down a plant where you're just like, we're just going to lay everybody off? And
it was a mold thing. Yeah.
I don't even know. Listeria. I mean, it's like a bacteria, right? But maybe there was mold at the plant too.
I did read something about them finding mold, and that they had found mold like
just everywhere
years prior, and I guess never fixed it.
So the cost of abating that probably was more than like just opening a new plant or.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did.
Well, part of the reason I stopped eating it is because I would buy the turkey and it goes bad like so quickly. And I once had like bad turkey, like, and it wasn't that didn't taste it even, and I got sick.
I do find that like turkey, there's something weird about turkey meat. It does kind of it doesn't have a good shelf life, and it's weird that it's kind of like swimming in liquid. We're going to disgust our listeners.
Oh, wait, you want to hear something disgusting?
Yeah.
So the other day I went for my yearly physical. This is on 9/11. I went and they asked for a urine test. And so I did it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I went to Costco and I reached into my pocket and I had the urine test still with me.
Oh my God.
So I was just carrying it around with me.
That's so funny. How did that happen?
It was like there was a long walk between the bathroom and dropping off the urine.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't want to
you didn't want people now sometimes they give you like a paper bag to put it in.
They should have given me a bag or a box, something.
A little paper
And so I put it in my pocket thinking I would go, and then I was just thinking about other things.
Door.
And I walked out the door.
And what did you do? You went back to the doctor?
I threw it away. I just threw it away.
Yeah,
and now I haven't reached out to them and said, hey, I got to come back and do this.
You got to do it. I hope your urine's okay.
I know.
It's weird. I have this. I went to Coney Island, and they have this candy store there called It's Sugar. I think it's a chain. And I bought a bunch of stuff for my son, just like gummies and Jelly Bellies and stuff. But then they have this like novelty candy. It was a urine test. It's literally a bottle with yellow liquid in it. And it says urine for a treat on the outside. And apparently it's like sour tasting, like sweet liquid. And I just thought it was hilarious because I regressed to my junior high days. So I got it for him, and it was like expensive too. It's like $8. And then he's like thinks it's the grossest thing, and I'm like, oh, you should bring it to school. Your friends will find it funny. And he's like, no, it's just weird. So now I have this thing. I'm like, I don't know who to send it to.
You could just keep it on your desk for like the next decade or something.
I could, but I'm curious to hear somebody, to hear what it tastes like.
Well, what about you? You
I
don't want to
taste
taste
it? No.
Yeah, nobody. I get that's fun. Yeah.
Oh well.
Maybe
I'll give it to my brother.
Yeah, he would be down with it.
He might drink it. Well, if you're back in New York anytime, we should get together and we
drink some piss. Yeah.
So
that'd be great.
So we met. We had a good show. It was the lead up to the debate the last time. We talked about the Middle East, which was intense.
We talked about the Middle East.
And then
we talked about
what else did we talk about? Just kind of catching up on a bunch of stuff.
I think so. I guess it was just the lead up to the debate.
Yeah,
right.
And now the debate happened. Any thoughts come to mind?
I mean, I thought it was great. It was just people are saying it's the best debate performance in ever in terms of recorded debates in the last couple decades.
She did really well. And one thing I was thinking about, kind of an interesting, the titular word of our podcast, interesting take on it was, I remember there was this show called Wife Swap. Do you remember that show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like people would swap households, like a husband.
Yeah, it was crazy.
From one household.
I was thinking about it, and it was like, would that show? I feel like that show wouldn't happen.
It probably wouldn't. But there were some good things about it. But I remember hearing that they had on staff a psychologist, and normally a psychologist would help people with their issues. But the point of having a psychologist on staff was to stir up shit and make people have conflict and make it more interesting TV. So I was like kind of thinking like maybe because Kamala was so good at getting under his skin, like I was like maybe like marry Trump, the psychologist, or there was some psychologist that she consulted with because she was so great about getting him like really riled up and pissed off.
I mean, that I think, was the truly most impressive thing, was that strategically riling him. I mean, I think to me, it really started with when she talked about his rallies.
Yeah.
And she did it in such a great way. Like she set it up saying like,
you should go.
I'm going to do something weird here.
Yeah.
or whatever she said, and like said, you should go. And it was like, I don't know. It was brilliant.
He must have been like great when she started that. Because she was like, you should go. So it was like totally toying with his brain. He was probably thinking, great, she's telling people to go. And then she was like, people start leaving because they're exhausted. And it was so
bored.
Oh my God. It's like the worst thing he could
I mean, it got him. And
totally did.
I think, didn't the moderator, tried to move him on to another topic?
I think you're right.
And it could have just gone on, but Trump went back to it and just talked about that. It was insane. And we were talking, I think, before we started recording about how Trump actually appears to have some people on his campaign, horrible people likely, but smart about strategy. And, you have to think that they must have been going crazy because especially the first debate, I think their whole thing was trying to make him not seem so kooky anymore. And he was boring. And also for this debate, boring.
Yeah.
And I thought that's like the path to victory for him, but he couldn't keep it in control. And did you notice this? Sorry to keep going, but his hair color at the last debate. It wasn't this crazy blonde.
Yeah.
It was sort of a brown or...
That's interesting. The lighting.
It could have been just lighting, I suppose.
Maybe,
but
maybe.
I thought maybe he changed the shade of it or something just to seem less like look less clownish.
And the Wall Street Journal actually brought up, which the Wall Street Journal the editorial is so conservative. I think we talked about them before.
I had to I just the other day stop following them on Apple News because they wrote something that I was just like, come on, I can't. I forget what it was, but it was.
But they were critical of Trump, and we turned to Fox after the debate just to see what they were saying. Yeah. And there were a few of them who were pretty negative.
Oh yeah, I read the Wall Street Journal. Editorial.
They brought up the circle, the white circles around, and he's always had that. So it's a little weird that they just noticed that.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't notice it at the time either. But they talked even about how he was telling crazy lies.
Maybe everybody's just kind of tired of him.
Yeah. Because the thing is, I think it's like he lives in this internet politics bubble, which I think, or at least I do, both sort of spend some time in. But
Truth Social,
most people most people, yeah, that, but just the internet politics world, you know what I mean? Like we're both in there reading stuff, etc. And I think a lot of people don't, like huge majority of people. And so when he starts talking about people eating dogs, it's like, what? It sounds crazy because it's just like because it comes out of nowhere to most people.
Well, the one thing I also wonder about him is like, I mean, why can't he back off something that is, does he think the value of getting at least he's getting attention for those crazy things? Like, does he feel like that's still a victory, even if people are like thinking he's out of his mind? Because he's still talking about eating the dogs, and he's going to make a campaign stop in Springfield, Ohio now. And then she brought up, he took out that ad to ask for the death penalty of those, the Central Park Five, who were all innocent. And he still hasn't, like, he always doubles down whenever anybody brings that up. Like, how do you do that? Like, he's sick. He's totally,
because even if you don't want to cop to it, as you should.
Yeah.
Like, just ignore it and move past it. Pivot, as they say. Right? But he doesn't do that. He doubles down. You're right. That was another brilliant thing she did on race.
Yeah.
Where I forget. Oh, well, they asked the question, right? About, and he gave this horrible answer. The question was whether or not, like, why did he say that she decided to be black all of a sudden or something, which was ridiculous. And so she turned it around on him and said, you are using race to divide people, which I feel like is often the thing that Republicans say about Democrats.
That was great. That was
brilliant because she also, I mean, she made a larger point too about, the insidiousness of racism while still saying we have more in common than we don't, which is, I think, what people generally like to hear and is true in many ways.
Well, it's an emperor has no clothes moment. There were like many of those where, there was that thing with Joseph McCarthy with that, Red Scare, Wisconsin, he was a senator or a congressman.
Yeah, he was a senator.
Yeah. And then somebody was like, have you no shame?
I
forget who said that, but then Edward R. Murrow actually criticized him too.
Yeah. Hey, you hear they're doing a play?
No.
George Clooney, I guess, is going to play Murrow on Broadway.
Right, based on his movie.
Yeah,
that might be interesting. Although the movie was good, I don't know.
I never saw it because it's not actually him quite in it, good, right? It's David Strathairn, right?
Right, he played Murrow in the movie, but I think George Clooney is playing Murrow in the play. So
could be good,
maybe. Anyway, it did feel like one of those moments. Well, Trump says these things and he's like, there's so many lies and so many outrageous things he implies. Like 20 a minute. Well, that whole thing about like where he says everybody got what they wanted out of like turning over Roe versus Wade. And it's like he always says that, but nobody's always like, wait. What are you talking about? Are you fucking... Ooh, sorry. Are you kidding? I guess we can curse. But
it was another crazy moment where she turned that back around on him, and she got so specific on what this change in abortion law has done.
She knew this was coming. She knew he was going to say that too.
It's crazy to me that so many people used to always be like, "Oh, she's so bad on her feet," and she always speaks, nonsense. Like that was the Republican line about her.
But even
a lot of Democrats bought into
like
it.
Biden kind of buried, like kept her quiet too a little bit.
I guess so, but she was VP. But
she was.
Anyway, it's clearly the farthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant on her feet.
I mean, really good.
Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about that Laura Loomer.
Yeah. Is it Lara or Laura? Maybe it's Laura.
I think it might be Laura. But yeah, that was an interesting thing. So this came out. Looming. Yeah.
It's a story that just has hit in the last night it hit the web.
And she's a big presence on Twitter, like former Twitter, right?
That makes sense.
She might have like a million followers or something.
Oh, really? Well, she's this sort of right-wing loon who is constantly talking about conspiracy theories. You know, she's a 9/11 truther, which maybe puts her outside of the norm in terms of Republican lunatics. But other than that, it's a lot of the same stuff.
I think they went to 9/11 together, like on 9/11 the other day.
Well,
I think
this is my question: is that the reason this has come to the fore? Because she's been basically, the story is that she's been following Trump around and traveling with Trump, and people are like, he shouldn't be seen and be hanging out with this, you know, loopy, crazy conspiracy theorist.
It's a good way. It's what is it called when you're damned by, you know, when you damn somebody by the company they keep, you know, it's like a fallacy, but it's still, if they're traveling with you on a campaign, I think it's fair game.
But it's a lot of Republicans coming out and speaking out against her.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, that was interesting. Well, she might feel threatened.
Or, jealous.
It's interesting how there are these women, like who's the one, the Beetlejuice woman? You know who I'm talking about.
Catherine O'Hara?
No. The woman, the Republican who fondled her boyfriend in the production of Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No,
that's
the other one. What's her name?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, there are all these women who kind of want to be like first in line to like have his ear, and they all kind of try to outdo one another. So there's like,
right. Well, people are speculating that they're having an affair.
Right.
It is Laura Loomer. Yeah. Well, anyway, but my big question though is, why is this the story now? Is it because of the 9/11 thing? Because she's been with him for months, traveling around with him.
Lauren Boebert was the
Boebert, yeah. So why is it now? And that's why I wonder. I saw some people speculating that that it's Republicans pushing this story because they want to unload him. They want him to
maybe
step down because of that debate. But it could
be like Marjorie Taylor Greene doing it because she's threatened by her. Like maybe she's leaking it, or
maybe. But she's I think, spoken negatively about her in the past. But I think the thing that's happening now is there's a lot of Republicans speaking negatively about her all of a sudden. And so the speculation was that they're going to use her as some kind of like Jezebel who has ruined Trump or something, and blame it all on her rather than on him, and maybe thereby be able to get rid of him as the candidate. That I don't.
To actually get a crazy new candidate in there before the election.
I mean, I can't see that happening, but who knows?
Well, it's interesting too. I think I was mentioning it to you before we started recording that, like his campaign manager, or the two of he has a couple of people that are running the campaign. They're they're very right wing, but they're fairly mainstream. They're not like kooks. And a lot of the people who were kooks from his previous campaigns, they're in jail, like, you know, Bannon. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I wonder if he just felt like he needs that energy, that like crazy MAGA, somebody who's preening over him and just like telling him what he wants to hear. Because I'm sure his campaign managers are like, you're fucking up.
Yeah, don't, like, let's keep her away from him. Yeah. But the thing is, he's crazy anyway. Yeah. Like, he's the one who created her, you know?
Right, true.
I mean, the only thing light I can put between the two of them is maybe the 9/11 truther thing. I don't think he's a 9/11 truther. Is he? I don't think he's done that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Although he has lied about 9/11, like, in various ways. Like,
about his building.
He said he knew people, that he had friends that died in it, and it turned out he didn't. And then, well, here's her.
That's nothing.
I know.
That's like not, when it comes to Trump, that's like not even a lot. I mean, despicable still, but.
Here's her. Really. I mean, she's on X, you know, the former Twitter, and she has 1.2 million followers. And she's investigative journalist, founder of Loomered, host of Loomer Unleashed. Do you know what Loomer is? Oh, founder of Loomer. I guess that's like a publication. Oh, and she was also part of that Project Veritas. Remember that thing?
I do. Yeah, they were busted. Yeah.
They were busted. And then she calls herself America's first feisty Jewess. That's so weird. What does that mean, first feisty Jewess? There's been other, apart from that word, which is probably offensive.
I mean, what about Joan Rivers? Right?
Right. Did she ever call herself that?
No, but I'm sure people called her feisty.
Right? For sure.
Joan Rivers is Jewish, right? It has to be.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm like everybody.
Anyway, and I wonder if Loomer is like really her name too.
I know it does seem like an insane name. No, it sounds like it would be a real name, but I guess because it sounds so close to Loon. But why would she give herself a name close to Loon?
I know. Well, a loom is one of those things that you weave fabric on, right?
Yeah.
So it's
is that a shuttlecock on a loom? Is that something else?
Isn't a shuttlecock the thing from badminton?
Maybe. No, or is that maybe? I don't know.
So many questions.
Yeah, man. There's a lot to learn.
So what's going to happen? I guess that's now that the debate's done, it looks like there's no more debates.
I know. That's funny he didn't. You're right, shuttlecock. You're correct. It's funny that he like gave it up like that quickly and he didn't like drag it out. I know, but it's almost like I don't know. He didn't like wait for an excuse or something.
Hillary Clinton was beating him in the polls back in 2016, and he's probably just convinced that he's going to win this one.
Yeah,
and I guess he could, but
yeah. I think I don't know, man. I kind of think he's going to win, but maybe not. He could totally be wiped out. I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I think he is. Well, it looks like he got hurt due to the debate, and it looks like everybody's saying if he loses North Carolina, that it's basically over.
Yeah, if he can't win that, that's true.
So,
cool, because everybody was reminded now, and it was kind of amazing to me. It seemed that people had forgotten how crazy he was, and now they remember.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me, too, that I've been thinking about is that I wonder if we've entered a new era in politics where it's always going to be difficult for an incumbent to win. Where it's going to be better for the party, even with it's better to lose the incumbent, whereas it was always a strength because people are always angry and always going to be. I think. I don't know.
Times used to be simpler. I think with social media and with the way the news is, it's not as easy to like paint things as going well in the world,
I guess so, but it's also just the brass tacks of the economy, I guess, too. And why are people feeling so bad about the economy when it's supposed to be pretty good?
Yeah.
Certainly, it may have to do with inflation is something, but supposedly wages have risen enough to meet inflation.
I think it's more
or exceed it.
Things just have become complicated, and back in the 1950s, there were just more opportunities. You could start companies that didn't exist, and now everything kind of exists already. So the best you'll do is just get some. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
You're just talking about
I'm just talking about how people feel aggrieved now.
No, I do think there's something to that, though. I think to me, it's because of the accumulation of power amongst these big companies, and that makes it so much harder for small and even medium-sized businesses. So. And also starts to hurt consumers, which I think is a big part of inflation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That could definitely be a part of it.
But I agree. Everybody wants to be the underdog now. It's not a good look to be the person that's been in charge.
Right.
She's never talking about things that she and Biden accomplished now. Even the good things.
You know what? I didn't even think of that. You're right, because they accomplished a lot.
They did,
or at least he did.
It looks bad to look back, you know.
I know. Yeah.
They're just telling her, let's focus on the future, and he's the one who's looking back.
Yeah. Gosh, they just like. I'll be real curious to hear about the behind the scenes of this campaign and how it came together so quickly. And honestly, I think kind of win or lose, that whatever they're doing is brilliant.
It is
in terms of
definitely.
Strategy.
I agree. And now they've brought on some big like Obama veteran people. So I mean, they're in good position. I think she's gonna win. I
sort of do too, but also I'm telling myself he is, so then I can set myself. I can set myself up.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't want to
choosing my position
too far down that like despair hole if it doesn't
man, I
work
gotta take
out.
care of myself.
We're just going to Canada, I think, if that happens. But
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we should go to South America or something.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, where in South America?
I don't know. I got a friend in Peru, and I got a friend in Chile.
But
maybe one of those. My buddy's wife is from Argentina.
Should do a little research, probably.
I'll look into it. There
must be like a Google, like or OpenAI, whatever, GPT.
ChatGPT. Do you do much GPT? We haven't talked about GPT.
Not in a little while, but
people get real mad about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Anyway, I like it, but it's also scary too.
Yeah,
so I get that.
It has its place, I guess, but it can't replace us.
No, well, of course,
a few years off from that. All right, well, we have a lot of stuff coming up. There's going to be a VP debate, and it'll be interesting to see more of the polling as it comes out after this debate.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the VP debate, that's going to be interesting.
That'll be interesting too.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's funny because it's like these two guys from like the heartland, right?
Totally.
And, that whole vibe. And, but I don't know that, what's his name? Vance really has the vibe.
No, he doesn't.
He has more of the Ivy League lawyer uptight vibe.
He's charm free, as they say, as we've already discussed. Charmless, yeah. Sounds like a CW series. Wasn't there a show called Charmed?
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Well, have a great, I think that we're going to post this on Monday, so I won't say weekend. But
have a great week.
Have a great week. We'll see you all soon, or talk to you all soon.